KTAR. Welcome, everybody, to Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos, second hour of the show.
Oh, by far the best hour, especially on Mondays, Gaydos.
Ladies and gentlemen, every Monday, it is Mondays with Meghan. Meghan McCain, the daughter of the late, great Senator John McCain, joins us on a weekly basis. Hey, Meghan, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
Christmas.
joining us.
Happy Monday.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. Happy Monday. You know, I think one thing that we should start with is, since, you know, you're out of New York, there was a guy that was gunned down in the middle of the street.
No.
And it seems that they've caught this guy, Luigi, who
You're not joking, by the way. His name's Luigi.
Correct. So if you look at some polls, 62% of Americans say it's the federal government's responsibility to make sure everybody has health care coverage. There are a lot of people, and I know it sounds weird, but they're not sorry that this guy got killed. And that's a terrible thing, but there are reasons, because maybe they got, screwed over some sort of health care issue. What have you heard about this guy? And I think I saw on your Twitter that maybe you believe he was radicalized somewhere.
Yeah, so he went to, I live in, right outside D.C. in Virginia, and he went to a very prestigious prep school in Maryland that's not terribly far away from where I live. And weirdly, I know people who have connections to him. They went to school near him or have friends who went to school with him. And there's a lot of people in the media that seem to have, a lot of people in political circles grew up around this area. So this is a rich kid who his parents and his family own a very well-known chain of retirement communities and I believe country clubs. So there's an elite kid who went to an elite prep school and then went on to go to Penn, which is obviously Ivy League school. I myself went to an Ivy League school, but I've said publicly many times, unless there was some huge, wholehearted, holistic, radical change going on these campuses, it's not someplace I would ever feel comfortable sending my children.
Wow.
And I just think we're seeing a lot of radicalization of a very specific type of wealthy, elite person on these college campuses. Now, this is just conjecture. I don't know anything else beyond this kid. Now we're seeing, and I say kid, he's 26 years old, this adult. Now we're seeing that there's now reports that he was radicalized because he had some kind of back surgery, and I'm assuming had some kind of issue with his insurance companies. People are also saying that his grandmother and another family member died. Maybe he had issues with insurance companies as well. Mm-hmm. I think they're two separate matters. We can have a conversation about how there's a lot of brokenness in America's healthcare right now. I just had an experience recently that was an example of this that was really jarring, just in my own personal life. But I think the celebration of cold-blooded murder, when you're seeing people like the Washington Post, former Washington Post, she just got let go or was fired, depending on, or left on her own, depending on which narrative you believe.
Yeah.
She was a gross reporter and is not employed in normal places right now because of some, I think we could say, morally compromising tactics she used to conduct her journalism. But she was just on Piers Morgan saying that she felt joy at the shooting of a CEO. And I think for me, the question of what's wrong with America's healthcare system is just as big as the moral rot within people in our media and people in the country. This shooter now has 160,000 followers on Twitter and 90,000 on Instagram. And a lot of the things I'm seeing on social media are about how attractive people find this person. He's a cold-blooded murderer that went up to a man and a father of young kids and went up and shot him in the middle of the street in New York City.
Right.
He's a mentally unstable lunatic, who's killing someone in cold blood. I don't think anything should be celebrated at all. And again, I think the conversations about America's healthcare system should be separate. And if anyone thinks that vigilante murders is the way to get anything done in any way, then I too think that they are mentally unstable.
Yeah, but we tend to agree on that, Meghan. Thank you very much. It's Meghan McCain, Mondays with Meghan here.
Bad, you guys.
Murder bad.
is
Okay,
not
that's
good.
good. We got that down. That's nice. Question. Trump spoke this weekend. He was on, was it Meet the Press?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And gave, I guess you could say, more details. We've spoken the last couple weeks about talk of immigration, but, gee, we just don't have a lot of details. Now maybe we have a few more.
Here's what Trump said.
You've promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
You know, we're the only country that has it. Do you know, if somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need two, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America.
All right, so
That's not true, by the way.
okay. All right, so how do you do it? How's he going to do this?
Yeah, it requires it's in the Constitution, birthright citizenship. So I say it nicely, Meghan, and by nicely, I mean I don't mean it nicely. I don't think he understands that, nor does he understand how you would have to go about changing the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it's only happened a few times in American history, and one of them was repealing slavery. So, again, I agree with you. I don't know if he has a full functioning grasp of what it would take to do such a thing. He is surrounded by sycophants and yes men and people who just say that he's a genius all day long and do not question anything that he's doing. So, I'm not really surprised that maybe he doesn't understand that. Wouldn't be something that would be semantically easy, nor I think in the realm of just rational logic to happen, let alone he has a good 2 years and that's it. And then he's going to be a lame duck president. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. I just don't see something that large happening in 2 years. That doesn't, mean that he's not going to try and, I think, full thwartedly go and get as much mass deportation as he possibly can. But I said this on your show before. I'm going to say it again. The first images the American public sees of families being broken up and children separated from their parents and their grandparents, I think people are going to have a whole different approach to it, because things that sound good on Newsmax and with, radical fringe people talking in think tanks in D.C. is an entirely different thing when put into action, particularly in border states like in Arizona. So I don't want this to happen. I'm very dovish when it comes to immigration. I think most people who grow up in the border states feel the same way. I have personally been at several parties where friends of mine became American citizens and were so overcome with emotion and excitement and, just joy because of what it means to be an American. And some of them were born here and some of them, came here through different channels and then became a citizen legally. And I just, to take away the beauty and joy of what it means to become an American and the fact that we're the great melting pot, to me is just very dark. For me, it's one of the darkest things I'm dreading about Trump coming into office.
I think if you were to take care of the asylum issue, and people have exposed us on it, and they've used the loophole in it to get here.
They've taken advantage of lax asylum laws.
And I think that if you can fix that, things would be much better.
If only there'd been legislation.
Right. And so obviously Kyrsten Sinema, independent senator here in Arizona, proposed that. Okay, Meghan, let's switch gears for a second. Meghan McCain, Mondays with Meghan. Listen, the deportations with Trump, I do think some people need to leave. But I'm not for ripping families apart.
Murderers, rapists,
Absolutely.
things like that. Yeah.
Here.
But there's this thing I'll never get by with Trump. New poll shows most Americans oppose giving pardons to January 6 rioters. He's going to do it on the first day. There are Republicans that I talk to. They don't want that. Why is he doing that?
I mean, I can only assume because some of those people are popular among his deep base. I was here in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. I saw smoke coming out of the Capitol. I was there the morning driving into the ABC bureau in D.C., and I called my executive producer, and I said something is very off. Right now, there were people driving around in trucks with like MAGA flags and Confederate flags and screaming at people. People were screaming at me and other people as we were walking into the ABC bureau. That entire day, I knew something was wrong. And then when January 6th actually happened, my sister-in-law, I've told this story before, she worked for Kevin McCarthy. She had her office completely desecrated, destroyed. She had her desk, things like graffitied on her desk. We have friends who are locked in their office trying to figure out ways if they were going to use one person told me if he was going to use a hand sanitizer stand as a blunt force weapon in case someone came into his office to try and kill him. Like, it's no joke. I don't know why we downplay January 6th. I still can't believe he got elected after January 6th. But again, I'm alone in my sentiments, I guess. I think it's unpopular. I think that you have to be president of all Americans. And I think that,
well, that's not going to happen. Come on.
He's probably not going to happen, but I don't understand why he would make things worse.
Yeah, but Biden wasn't president for all Americans either.
I'm a realist. Yeah, that's the
no,
way
he wasn't. And
no, he was
President
not.
Biden's also going at the Kennedy Center, being incredibly disrespectful to Vice President Harris, and I find that gross and immature and petulant. I mean, this group of no disrespect to that generation of boomers listening to this show right now, because there's a lot of great ones, but there's a lot in power in this government right now that are just horribly selfish and horrible reflections of leadership in the country. And I'm done with all of them. I would like to have, like, you're 80, you're done. Age limits all the way around. Like,
I'm with you. Yeah, I wanted to end real quickly. Again, we're talking to Meghan McCain. And I know that this weekend, I think your dad would have been really excited for what happened in Syria, that the Assad regime was finally deposed, and there's at least an opportunity for Syrians to live peacefully.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is something people who have been paying attention for a long time have been waiting to see happen. I honestly didn't know if I would ever see this day. Bashar al-Assad is one of the, most horrific, grotesque monsters in all of history. Full stop. He chemically gassed his own people. Oh. Some of the news reports we're seeing coming out about, the underground jails and the just mass torture and isolation and, things that are too graphic to say on the radio. I think we can only hope for better going forward. And yeah, when things like this happen, people were tweeting me so many pictures and videos of him, saying, like, he was always on the side of Syria. He was always on the side of the people. And I always get a little, like, not sad, but I just definitely get a twinge of, like, really missing him when things like this happen, because I just know he would be celebrating and just be so overjoyed in this moment.
That he would. Meghan, thank you.
Hey, Meghan, thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to talk to you next Monday. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, Meghan McCain, Mondays with Meghan.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.